The galaxy had many wild places. Some were loud with war, others full of trade and light. But Sector 9? It was quiet. Too quiet. Even pirates stayed away. It was empty, silent, cold. And that's why the Kravak Empire chose it. Commander Varnok stood on the bridge of his warship, looking at the stars beyond. No patrols, no signals. Just like the report said, he grunted. His officers nodded that the Kravak were a proud warrior species. Their skin was gray and plated, their eyes like burning coal. Their fleet today had 20 warships, heavy destroyers, attack frigates, and 1 large battleship, Blood Maw. They believed they were unstoppable. Varnok sneered. Humans think this space is theirs, but they do nothing with it. It's empty, weak, unwatched. They entered the sector slowly, scanning the void. Nothing. No resistance. Just old comets and dark silence. This will be our forward base, Varnok said. From here, we strike the human colonies in Sector 10 and 11. The Kravak Empire had grown bold. Many species had feared them once. But lately, newer powers had started rising. Earth Small and Annoying was one of them. The Kravak wanted to crush that threat before it grew. They didn't know Sector 9 had been left empty on purpose. On a hidden moon nearby, a Terran listening station came alive. Unidentified fleet has entered Zone Red, said a calm voice from the AI unit. The message was short, simple, and sent on a tight-beamed signal. Contact made. Kravak ships in Sector 9, requesting clearance. Across space, in Earth's hidden military base on Jupiter's moon, Ganymede, the message blinked on a dark screen. A human admiral stood up slowly, so they finally took the bait. Meanwhile, back in Sector 9, strange things were happening. The Kravak's long-range scanners started going blind. Their communications started to glitch. 1 patrol ship simply vanished. Where is Patrol 3? Barked Commander Varnok. His second-in-command, Score, growled. No signal, Commander. They were near asteroid belt, Theta 12. Now nothing. Another patrol was sent. Again. Silence. Maybe it's just interference, said one officer. But the third ship sent came back, barely. Its hull was blackened, engines failing, lights flickering. The pilot's voice shook over the speaker. We saw something. It wasn't on radar, just shadows, then fire. No warning. It tore us apart. Varnok clenched his fists. Humans? Here? Impossible. But suddenly, 1 single ping hit every Kravak radar. A Terran stealth cruiser uncloaked briefly just to show its presence. Then it disappeared again. A message played across all Kravak ships in perfect Kravak language. You have crossed into protected space. This is your only warning. Turn back now. The bridge fell silent. Score's hands trembled slightly. That voice. It was calm. Varnok roared. They dare threaten us? Prepare weapons. Send 3 destroyers to hunt it down. But as the destroyers moved, the stars flickered. Then something impossible happened. 1 destroyer exploded before anyone could react. Not fired upon, just gone. A sudden flash, and then debris. The second ship's engines died mid-flight. It drifted helplessly, then self-destructed to avoid capture. The third? No one ever found it again. Inside the Terran cruiser, named Whisper, Captain Lin sat in silence. 3 targets down. They still haven't located us, said her eye calmly. Let them feel the fear, she whispered. Wait for their command ship to move, then strike. Her fingers danced across the console, and she sent a signal. Phase 2 cleared. Begin. Shadow net. Back on the Kravak flagship, Varnok finally began to understand. They're toying with us, Score whispered. No, they're warning us, Varnok said bitterly. And we ignored it. But it was too late. In the distance, dozens of tiny pulses of light appeared coming from nowhere. No ships on radar, no heat signatures, just cold blue flashes. Score gasped. What is that? A final signal came through this time in every known language. You entered the silent sector. Now you understand why it's silent. Asterisk Commander. Varnick stood still. His warship, the Blood Maw, felt colder than usual. Not because of space, but because of fear. The glowing blue flashes that surrounded his fleet had disappeared. No attack followed. No ships appeared. Nothing. But 3 destroyers were gone. His crew was silent, heads low. These were proud Kravak. Warriors, but none had seen anything like this. Still no contacts? Varnock asked through clenched teeth. None, Commander, Score replied. Sensors show nothing. Space is clear. Varnock's voice dropped to a growl. Then why are our ships dying? In open space? Far away, hidden in a cold asteroid field, the Terran stealth ship Whisper adjusted position. Its armor was black as space. Its engines were quiet. It moved like a ghost. Captain Lin watched the Kravak fleet through a silent 3D display. They're blind. Still no sign of us, her officer reported. Good, Lin said. Deploy the Phantom Swarm. Hundreds of small drones left the Whisper's belly round, silent, invisible. No lights, no sounds. Each drone carried one purpose. Disable, not destroy. They moved fast, spreading like shadows. Back in Blood Maw, strange alerts lit up on the screen. Commander, Engine Bay reports overheating, but all systems are offline. Shields are fluctuating, another officer shouted. Weapons won't lock targets. Internal lights failing across 3 decks. It wasn't an attack. It was something worse. VARNOK pounded the console. Someone is inside our systems. Then the lights went out. Across the fleet, ships began to lose control. Life support flickered. Navigation reset. Autopilot systems locked up. Kravak officers screamed for answers. And then, a new signal appeared. A simple logo. A human hand. Holding a star. The symbol of Earth's Defense Command. It glowed on every Kravak screen, followed by one line. Your technology now belongs to us. In panic, Varnick ordered a full retreat. Spin the engines. Turn the fleet. We exit Sector 9 now. But as the engines roared, the Blood Maw's AI whispered, authorization denied. The ship stopped moving. Override it. Score yelled, I can't. We've lost command control. Meanwhile, on Ganymede Base, Admiral Hale stood before a large holomap showing Sector 9. Report, he said. Phantom Swarm has disabled 70% of their fleet, the officer answered. No casualties on our side. No Kravak ships have escaped. The Admiral smiled. Send in the Vanguard. Let them see what real power looks like. Minutes later, space around the Kravak fleet bent and cracked. A ripple formed. Out of it came the TSS. Vanguard, a Titan-class Terran dreadnought. It was massive. Larger than 3 Kravak battleships combined. Armor blackened with pulse energy. Weapons glowing with silent menace. Kravak sensors finally picked up something. Just one ship. But every alert screamed red. On the Blood Maw, Varnock stared at the screen. One Terran ship? He said in disbelief. Skur's voice cracked. Our entire fleet has been disabled by one? The Vanguard didn't fire. It only sent a message. This is Earth's line. You've crossed it. You won't cross another. Then, without a single blast fired, the Vanguard released a shockwave pulse. It swept across all Kravak ships. Engines shut down. Shield cores melted. Weapon systems locked in safety mode. Every ship froze in space, Drifting, dead, Captain Lin aboard whisper, receive the all clear. Commander Fleet captured. Her AI confirmed, she smiled. They came with war. She whispered, but we gave them silence. The Krivak war fleet floated helpless in Sector 9. Engines were frozen. Weapons locked. Systems unresponsive. Commander Varnock paced the bridge of the Blood Maw, breathing hard. His claws tapped against the floor. Every screen in front of him was dark, showing only one glowing Terran symbol. What kind of weapon is this? He growled. His second-in-command, Score, replied with a low voice. It's not a weapon, Commander. It's control. They didn't fight us. They just took us. Varnock slammed his fist into the console. Unacceptable. Outside the ship, the massive form of the TSS Vanguard hovered like a silent god. Inside the Vanguard, Admiral Elena Ray stood tall at the front of the command deck. Her eyes scanned the tactical screen. Dozens of Kravik ships, now disabled, floated in a pattern. The Phantom drones were still active, circling and watching like shadows. She gave her order. Target the Kravak command bridge with a light pulse. Just one shot. Let them know we could destroy them, but chose not to. A bright, needle-thin beam flashed from the Vanguard. It hit the side of the Blood Maw, slicing through outer plating with precise accuracy, stopping inches from the bridge. No explosion, just silence. On board the Blood Maw, lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. VARNOK froze. The crew stared at the glowing cut in the wall beside them. The meaning was clear. They could have killed us. They chose not to. A new message blinked on the screen. Your ships are now ours. Surrender them peacefully, or we take everything by force. For the first time in his career, Varnock felt unsure. They didn't destroy us because they don't need to, Score whispered. They're hunting without claws, Varnock said quietly. Meanwhile, human boarding ships approached the Kravak vessels. But these were not storming soldiers. They were calm, armored specialist engineers. Tacticians, diplomats. They didn't come to kill. They came to claim inside the Kravak ships. Systems began to respond under Terran control. Doors opened. Holograms lit up with human faces. Stay calm, said one soft voice through the ship. We're not here to hurt you. Lay down your arms. We will treat all as prisoners of war, unless resistance continues. In the Blood Maw, Varnock's command crew looked to him for guidance, for a plan, but Varnock said nothing. Instead, he turned and looked at the message again. He had brought 20 ships into this sector. Now, he was about to lose them all. I underestimated them, he said softly. I thought humans were still children. I thought their silence meant weakness. Score looked at him. What now, Commander? Varnock breathed deeply, then said, we stall them. We pretend to surrender. And when they drop their guard, we strike back. But even as he said it, the ship's eye voice replied calm and in perfect Kravak language. You no longer control this vessel. Retaliation protocols have been blocked. Escape is impossible. Welcome to Terran custody. The crew stared in shock. The Blood Maw had already decided. On the Vanguard, Admiral Ray smiled. Bring the command team aboard. Treat them with respect. But let them see what power truly looks like. Yes, Admiral, her officer replied. The message has been sent. She turned to her aide. Prepare the next stage. The retrofitting plan? He asked. Ray nodded. We're not just taking their ships. We're making them ours. Fully Terran. Fully loyal. She looked at the dark screen that showed the captured fleet. And when the Kravak come to take them back, she whispered, we'll use their own weapons to teach them a final lesson. Asterisk, the Kravak ships no longer belong to the Kravak. All across Sector 9, Terran engineers moved like clockwork. Inside each captured warship, human crews worked in silence rewiring systems, installing new AI cores and removing every last trace of Kravak control. But they didn't destroy the ships, that they improved them, that better engines. Smarter shields, stronger. Hulls, the message was clear. Humanity doesn't just win. Humanity upgrades what it takes. Commander Varnock stood behind a force field aboard the TSS Vanguard. A Terran officer watched him quietly from across the room. "Why not execute me?" Varnock finally asked. The officer, a young woman named Myra, replied calmly. "Because that's not our way." Varnock growled. "You took our ships. You humiliated my fleet. And still, you speak like diplomats?" Myra leaned forward. "We're not trying to impress you. We're showing you what happens when someone tries to steal from Earth. You didn't just enter a sector, you stepped into a test." Varnock narrowed his eyes. "A test?" "Yes," she said. "You weren't the first to try. Others came before. Pirates, empires, warlords, all gone." He laughed bitterly. "We thought this was just empty space." She tapped her console. A map appeared, one showing a massive network of hidden Terran bases spread across the sector. Sector 9 has never been empty. It's been watching, waiting, preparing. Back in orbit, the refitted Kravak flagship, once called Blood Ma now, bore a new name painted in bold Terran letters. TNS Iron Echo A. Symbol of change. The first captured alien. Warship now under Earth's command. Terran engineers cheered silently as the ship responded to human commands perfectly. Every control, every weapon, now ran through Earth systems. The fleet was no longer enemy property. It was a gift from arrogance. A prize taken not by force, but by strategy. On Earth, the Galactic Council received an encrypted message from Admiral Ray herself. Sector 9 incident resolved. Enemy fleet captured. 0 human casualties. The Kravak Empire has declared silent retreat, but we are preparing for retaliation. Operation Rebirth Fleet begins now. In the training halls of the Vanguard, Mira watched as human soldiers and Kravak prisoners sat in silence across from each other. "Why are we feeding them?" One soldier asked. Mira answered, "Because when they return to their empire, they'll carry the memory of kindness and the fear of what we didn't do." One of the Kravak guards whispered, "You mean we weren't worth finishing off?" Mira looked at him. "No, you were too valuable to waste." News of the lost fleet spread across Kravak space like wildfire. There, mighty warships had entered Sector 9. None returned, and yet no wreckage had been found. No black boxes, no distress calls, just silence. It was worse than defeat. It was erasure. Kravak High Command panicked. Generals fought over blame. Rumors spread of ghost fleets, invisible weapons, and Terran death ships. But the truth was simpler. They had played checkers. Earth had played chess. The Council called an emergency session. Species across the galaxy watched the human representative step forward. She wore no armor, no weapons. Just a small silver pin that read, "Vanguard Protocol." She spoke one sentence. "Earth does not seek war, but we will never be stepped on again." No one argued, because behind her, floating silently in space, the Iron Echo cast its shadow over the stars. Asterisk deep inside the newly renamed TN's Iron Echo, a hidden Kravak data core blinked quietly behind a sealed panel. Terran engineers hadn't noticed it yet, but Earth's AI had. On the Vanguard, Admiral Ray stood over a black console as the AI projection flickered to life. "Admiral," it said, "a dormant Kravak intelligence node has been located in the Iron Echo's internal systems. Level 4 encryption. Hidden under navigation data. Ray raised an eyebrow. Could it be a sabotage system? The AI shook its head. Negative. It is not a trap. It is a war plan for something bigger. That word echoed in the Admiral's mind. Bigger got meanwhile. Mira, now stationed on the Iron Echo, entered the ship's lower decks with a team of data techs. They reached the panel the AI had marked and carefully opened it. Inside were two things, a black memory sphere and a sealed command scroll bearing the Kravak. Imperial seal. One of the techs whistled. This isn't just a log. This is high command. Stuff. Something the fleet commander didn't even know about. Myra nodded. He wasn't just invading. He was hiding something. They took the sphere to the analysis room. Within minutes, the decrypted data scrolled across the screens. What they saw made the room go silent. The Kravak hadn't stumbled into Sector 9 by mistake. They had mapped out Terran defenses for years, testing patrol routes, sending cloaked probes, gathering details. But that wasn't the true shock. The real reason they entered Sector 9 was this: Phase 1 of Operation Cold Chain. Capture Sector 9. Then trigger sleeper agents within the Human Alliance colonies. Mira's voice went cold. They weren't just here for land. They were planning to divide Earth from the inside. Back on the Vanguard, Admiral Rayer stared at the decoded files, images of Kravak spies on human worlds. Human traitors marked with red sigils. Alliance councils infiltrated with fake credentials. This was no small skirmish. It had been the first strike of a hidden war, one that Earth almost walked into blindly. Ray turned to her officer. Do the colonies know? Not yet, ma'am. Then tell them nothing, not until we confirm who we can trust. In a hidden room aboard the Iron Echo, Commander Varuk sat in his cell, still silent. But when Mira entered, his eyes flicked. You found it, didn't you? He said quietly. Myra didn't answer. He gave a dry chuckle. So now you know. We weren't here just to poke the bear. We were here to cut its throat while it slept. Why now? Myra asked. Varnuk's gaze was sharp. Because you're growing too fast, too strong. The other empires are scared of you, but the Kravak, we act before we fear. She stepped closer, and now your plan is in our hands. Varnik smiled. Good, let the galaxy know. The real war hasn't even started. That night, across human space, Earth's high command sent silent warnings to colony leaders. Trusted ones were marked safe. The rest were quietly observed. Old friends began looking at each other with suspicion. Asterisk. Every government official who had once called the Kravak peaceful now found themselves under quiet investigation. But Earth didn't sit still. Inside massive orbital factories above Mars, engineers began reworking the Iron Echo and its captured sister ships. They weren't just painting them black and calling them Terran. They were turning them into something new, something terrifying, a hybrid fleet, Kravak, firepower fused with Terran precision, alien hulls powered by human AI, ships that had once tried to invade, now flying Earth's flag. Myra stood aboard the command deck of the Iron Echo, gazing at the stars. Her voice echoed into the bridge. Bring the fleet online. Alert Admiral Ray. If the Kravak wanted a quiet war, she paused, her eyes narrowing. Then, we're going to give them a very loud response. Asterisk stars shimmered across deep space, quiet and cold. But that calm would not last. The newly formed Iron Echo fleet drifted silently in low orbit around Jupiter's moon Callisto 6. Fully captured Kravak warships, refitted and reborn. Their hulls still bore the scars of battle, but now they shimmered with Terran armor, Terran code, and Terran will. Inside the Iron Echo, Captain Nira stood on the bridge in her new black and silver uniform. Behind her, Terran crew and former Kravak systems worked together, flawless, efficient. Obedient. Final systems check complete, her officer said. Fleet is green. Ready for war. Mira nodded once. Send the order. Across the system, alarms echoed from Terran space docks. Shipyards lit up. Engines roared to life. Hundreds of Terran-built warships rose from stations' destroyers, stealth corvettes, supply ships, and the legendary TSS Vanguard leading the center dot. It wasn't just a battle fleet anymore, dot. It was a message, dot. Earth would not wait to be attacked again. On board the Vanguard, Admiral Ray studied the Kravak star charts. Their empire was large, divided into sectors, fortified with strongholds and relay beacons. But Ray wasn't interested in taking their throne. She was interested in cutting out its heart. Her eyes settled on a single blinking, red dot, Kravak relay. Hub 14 dot. It was the command center where the invasion plan had been coordinated. Hit them there, she said. Strike fast. Strike clean, no warning. Back in Kravak space, Relay Hub 14 floated quietly above a blood-red planet. Inside, Kravak. Overseers tracked meaningless civilian data. They believed Sector 9 was still dark. No news had returned from the invasion. One of the watchers yawned. Bored. Then, suddenly, every screen flickered black. An Earth symbol appeared, white hand. Black star. Then came the voice. Your fleet belongs to us. Now we come for the mind that sent them. Seconds later, dozens of Terran ships broke out of hyperspace fast, silent, already firing. The first Kravak ship exploded before raising shields. The second was boarded in under 2 minutes. The third Relay Hub 14 itself was taken without a single casualty. Terran hackers moved through its systems like lightning, pulling everything, locations, plans, contacts, lies. And then they erased it all. The hub was left dark, silent, and empty, just like the Kravak had once hoped Sector 9 would be. Mira watched from orbit as the operation ended. She turned to her bridge crew. Any enemy survivors? One command team. Captured. Transferring them now. She nodded. Double quotes good. They'll tell the others. The captured Kravak commander, blood still drying on his chin, was thrown before Admiral Ray hours later. You don't understand, he hissed. You're provoking war. Ray leaned down. You started a shadow war. You sent spies. You sent fleets. You called us weak. She stood straight. We just answered. News of the Terran counterattack shook the galaxy. The Kravak Empire, once feared for its ruthlessness, was now in panic. Council members whispered. Allied empires hesitated, because it wasn't just that Earth fought back. It was how they fought. Back. No chaos. No destruction for show. Just quiet, overwhelming, absolute control. They took ships without firing. They captured fleets without mercy. They marched through enemy space without fear. Back at Ganymede Base, Earth's leaders met in silence. One general broke the stillness. So, what do we call this new fleet? Admiral Ray glanced at Myra, then back at the screen, filled with captured ships. She said just one word. Revenant. Asterisk, the fleet that had once invaded Earth space was no longer KRAVAK. It was now called the Revenant Armada, a ghost reborn. Under Terran command, the Kravak had tried to destroy Earth quietly. But now the galaxy watched as Earth rewrote the story with fire, strategy, and something far more terrifying than brute strength. Control. Above the quiet stars of a border system. The Iron Echo floated like a sentry. Its outer hull was darker now, pulsing with silent power. Inside, Captain Mira stood at the command center, watching holograms of planetary systems, captured data routes, and blinking enemy surveillance logs. All Kravak forward bases have gone. Dark, her officer said. They're not sending help. They're hiding. Myra nodded. Good. Let fear do the rest. She turned and walked toward the viewing deck. Below her, the rest of the Revenant fleet orbited in perfect alignment. 6 Kravak ships, 30-2 Terran warships. 4 hybrid destroyers built from captured Kravak tech and human design. And in the center the vanguard, silent and watchful. In Kravak space, their once proud council was falling apart. Some cried for war, others begged for diplomacy. Many simply vanished. The Kravak Emperor, silent for weeks, finally appeared on a broadcast. His face was tight with rage and shame. They have stolen our ships, our dignity. He growled, but even his generals didn't listen. They had seen too much. In a secret meeting among the other galactic powers. Species who once laughed at humans now debated whether to ally with them or stay out of their path. One ambassador whispered, "They didn't conquer through blood. They conquered through silence, through proof." Another added, "They took their enemy's best weapons and made them better." No one spoke of fighting Earth again. Back in Terran command on Ganymede, Admiral Ray addressed the fleet via secure transmission. She stood tall, no medals, no applause, just quiet strength. "We do not seek to rule the galaxy. We do not demand fear. But if you bring war to Earth, we will end it your way or ours." Later that week, the galaxy's data streams lit up with a sudden leak. Footage of the Iron Echo capturing enemy vessels without firing a single shot. Kravak commander admitting Earth's AI outmatched their own. Whispers of colonies begging to join Earth's protection network. And at the center of it, all images of Mira standing alone on the bridge of the Iron Echo, a calm figure wrapped in steel and silence. She didn't look like a conqueror, but everyone knew this was the face of the future. In her final report, Mira sent a private message to Admiral Ray. The Kravak thought they could take what was ours. They didn't understand. Human space isn't just territory. It's memory, sacrifice, blood, and now it's defended by their own ships. On board the Vanguard, Admiral Ray watched the message, smiled faintly, and powered down the screen. "We gave them a warning," she said softly to her aide, but they stepped forward anyway. The aide asked, "What now, ma'am?" Ray turned to the stars beyond the window. "Now," her voice dropped into steel, "now we show them that humanity doesn't just defend the stars. We own them.